so this is going to be objective 2-3. We are going to divide polynomials by a monomial. And so I told you for this unit, we're just going to stick to dividing by how many terms? What's a monomial? One term. Okay, so it should be fairly easy for us. Okay, so when we divide, we're going to, what are the coefficients? What's the coefficient of a term? They are the numbers in front of the variable. So if it's 5x squared, what's the coefficient? 5. If it's 2x cubed, what's the coefficient? 2. Okay, so we are going to simplify. So if it's dividing, it's going to be a fraction. So like if you have 2 over 4, you're going to simplify the coefficients. What would you make 2 over 4? 1 over 2, 1/2. Very good. And you're going to actually subtract the exponents. When we multiply powers, we add the exponents. When we divide powers, we subtract the exponents. And I'm actually going to show you a canceling out method that I think you're going to like better than the subtraction method. Okay? So, when it says find the quotient, what does quotient mean, by the way? Okay, so step 1, you're going to rewrite your problem. We're going to write it like a fraction, okay? My question is what's being divided by 2x? Is the whole thing being divided by the 2x, or just the 2x squared being divided by the 2x? The whole thing. So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take each piece, each term, and we're going to make a little fraction. Okay, so 2x squared is being divided by 2x. What else is being divided by 2x? The 16x is being divided by 2x. Do you understand that? You're going to take each piece and divide it by 2x. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, you're going to simplify those fractions. Okay, so 2 over 2, simplify the numbers, is going to become what? 1 over 1. Does everybody understand that? Okay, and then x squared over x. Now you could subtract. Okay, 2 minus 1 would be just x, or x to the first. And when you subtract, you put your answer on the top. I have more of a canceling out method to show you, and I think you're going to like it. Okay, so tell me this right here. How many x's do I have up top? I have 2, correct? How many x's do I have in the bottom? 1. How many would cancel out? 1 pair, leaving you with 1 on top. Do you like what I said there? Okay, so let's talk canceling versus subtraction. Okay, then 16 over 2, simplify that, and you can do that in your calculator. 16 divided by 2 becomes 8. So do I put the 8 in the top or the bottom? What is 8 as a fraction? 8 over 1. Do you understand that? Okay, so you know where to put it. And then, how about my x's? They cancel out. Okay, and you don't need them. So the last thing I do, so step 1, I divide it and make itty bitty little fractions. Step 2, I simplify those fractions. Step 3, I clean it up. Okay, so here's my thought on this. And it's going to get a little grotesque. Okay, like nasty, like bloody and gutsy. Okay, so you got to keep up, like, stay with me, because you'll remember this. I promise you will. Okay, when do you need a 1? Like, do I need these ones up here? You don't need that one, because 1 times x is just x. Do you need a 1 in the bottom of a denominator? Yes or no? No. So here's what I say, okay? You don't have to have legs to live, correct? Yes? Huh? They are helpful, I agree, but they're not a necessity. You don't have to have them, okay? So you don't have to have legs. You can take the legs away from the fraction, okay? So really, the answer would just be x plus 8. Stay with me on this, because if I had a fraction, like what if I had one that said this? What if it was x over 1 plus 1 over 7? Okay? Do you need those ones? Or do you need some of them? Which one do you need? The 1 over 7. See, I always say you can't take off your head. If you take off your head, you're not living, right? And we can't talk roosters or chickens, or someone said if you cut off a rooster's head or a chicken's head that they still run around. Yeah, you can't. You gotta think like we need a head to live, correct? You gotta have a head of a fraction. So if the 1 is in the top, you can't have a headless fraction. You gotta have the top, but you don't have to have the legs. Does that make sense? That's not a necessity. So really the answer there would be 1 plus, or x plus 1 over 7. Did y'all follow with me? Was that really gross? You got to have a head. So if the 1's up top, you got to have it. But if the 1's in the bottom, you can take it away. Okay? Cameron's with me. All right. So here we go. 3-step process. Step 1, what are we going to do? We're going to make itty-bitty little fractions, and we're going to rewrite it. So tell me, what's being divided by 3b? B to the third is being divided by 3b. What else? 12b squared is being divided by 3b, and 3b is being divided by 3b. Any questions on that? Divide and conquer. Set up itty-bitty little fractions. What's step 2? Simplify. One thing that I think will help you is I go ahead and I draw my fraction bars and I bring down all my signs. That way I know, because here's where you will mess up. You will put things in the numerator that need to be in the denominator. You'll put things in the denominator that need to be in the numerator. You'll have it backwards. Okay, so you got to be cautious, careful, conscientious. Okay, what number do I have here in front? A 1. So, if I simplify 1 over 3, 1 divided by 3, math enter, what will you get? Math enter. You will get 0.3333 repeating. You get 1 divided by 3. So, what am I telling you? If the numbers can't simplify, you just leave them alone. Okay? All right. So you can subtract the exponents here, or we can think this. How many b's do I have up top? 3. 1, 2, 3. How many b's do I have in the bottom? 1. How many can cancel out? 1 pair, leaving me with 2 in the top, or b squared in the top. Okay? All right. How about 12 over 3? What does it simplify to? 4 over 1. Okay? And then 2 b's up top, 1 b in the bottom. 1 b cancels, leaving you with b where? Top or bottom? Top. Will it ever be in the bottom? Yes, it will. Like if you had, what if you had a, I don't know, a b over a b to the third here? You got 1 b up top, 3 b's in the bottom, 1 cancels, leaving you with 2, but where? In the bottom. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to be cautious, careful, conscientious, and make sure you get things in the right position. Okay? What about here? So everybody says those cancel. So here's my question to you. Do you need anything here or not? Technically, what's there? 1s. Right? Because 3 over 3 simplifies to 1 over 1. You with me on that? The question is do I need those 1s? Okay? When do you not need 1s? When you're multiplying and dividing, right? Anything times 1 is itself. Anything divided by 1 is itself. But if I subtract 1, will it change this amount? If I have this amount and I take 1 away from it, does it affect the problem? Yes, it does. It makes it 1 less, correct? So listen to me on my saying on this. When all you have is a 1, the 1 must stand alone. Okay, you got to have it. Does that make sense? When all you have, because I am subtracting 1. If you are adding 1 or subtracting 1, you got to have the 1. Okay, those 1s kill us every time. So here's my question. Do I need this one? No, because I'm timesing by 1. So you really don't need that. Do I need this one? Why not? Because it's on the bottom and you don't need legs. You can take the legs away, okay? So plus 4b. Any questions? But you got to have this one. There's 2 times when you have to have a 1. You have to have a 1 when it's by itself. Okay, the 1 must stand alone. You got to have a 1 when it's all that's in the numerator. Does that make sense? Because you can't have a headless fraction. It's got to have a head to it. Okay, so the answer would be b to the second over 3 plus 4b minus 1. All right, is this the same thing or is it different? It's the same thing. Why does it look different? It's just written with the house, right? Okay. So it's the same thing though. I'm going to get you started on it and then I'm going to let you finish it. So what's step 1? Do we actually divide it this way? No, what's step 1? You make itty bitty little fractions. So what's being divided by 2r? 4r to the 6th is being divided by 2r. What else? 3r to the 4th is being divided by 2r. And 2r to the second is being divided by 2r. Okay? All right, so you try this one on your own. So, step 1, how many brought their fractions with their signs down first? Okay? Okay, if you'll do that, that will help you. Okay? We've already established that if you'll do all the little extra stuff that I do and not skip steps, we do better, correct? Okay, so here we go. This part can be done in the calculator. 4 divided by 2 gives us 2 over 1. And don't just put 2 because you'll get confused on what goes in the top. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen students do it over and over and over. They get confused on what goes in the numerator and what goes in the denominator. And when you do that, it'll mess your problem up. Okay? All right, 6r's up top. Y'all with me on that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1r in the bottom. How many cancels? 1, leaving you with 5 in the top. Okay? What do you do with 3 over 2? You just leave it the same. Okay? Well, it's not 3 over r. 3 over 2. Okay, 4r's up top, 1 in the bottom. 1 cancels, leaving you with r to the 3rd up top. Okay? How about 2 over 2? That's 1 over 1, and then r in the top. Okay? And the question is, which ones do you need and which ones do you not need? You don't need the bottoms, right? You don't have to have legs to live. Do you technically need that one? Why not? Because it's not by itself. Does that make sense? And it's being multiplied. So really, the final answer would be 2r to the 5th plus 3r to the 3rd over 2. Just leave it as a fraction minus r. And you can say 1r. 1r is fine, but you don't necessarily need that one because it's being multiplied. Okay? The only time you need the ones is if it's by itself and it's being added or subtracted. Okay? Or you have a fraction and there's nothing up top. You got to have a head to a fraction. You can never have, like, we don't ever have fractions that look like that, correct? No, it's got to have a head to it. So you would have to have the 1. All right, let's see if we can get one. Yeah, let me make this up. Okay. Let's do 8x to the 3rd over plus 16x squared plus 24 all divided by 16x squared. Try that one. Oops, let me make this an x right here. That'll be our last one. All right, step 1. We're gonna separate it all, and we're gonna make itty bitty little fractions. Okay, so 8x cubed is being divided by 16x squared. 16x squared is being divided by 16x squared, and 24x is being divided by 16x squared. Are you with me so far? Okay, so, oops, we're going to simplify now. I'm going to bring down everything, so that way I know where to put what. Okay, 8 over 16 reduces to 1 over 2. Where's my x? Up top. Okay, what happens here? Cancels. Do you need to put anything there? Yes. You need to put some 1s, because 16 divided by 16, that becomes 1s. Okay, will I need that 1? Will I need that?
Not the bottom one.
You won't need the bottom one. Will I need the top one?
Yeah.
Yes, why? Because it's plus 1. When all you have is a 1, the 1 must stand alone. You got to have it. Okay? What does 24 over 16 reduce to? 3 over 2. You with me on that? 1.5, but math enter. Okay? And same thing up here. X over x squared. You got 1 up top and 2 in the bottom. 1 cancels, leaving you with 1. And it tells you where to put it on the bottom. Okay? So, my question is do you need the first one? No. So, x over 2 plus, do you need this one? 1. I shouldn't really put maybe I should zigzag that. We took away the x's, because then it looks like an x. And then, do you need all of that? Yes. Okay. Anybody actually do the subtraction part? Yeah, with the exponents. So, like, when you subtract this, you got to be careful. If you actually did, this is why I'm trying to help you out. Like, if you did algebra 1, 1 minus 2 would actually be what? It'd actually be x to the negative 1. And then in algebra 1, you learned that you could not have negative exponents. How did you fix them? By moving it through the fraction mark. Okay, I called it the magic mirror. Okay, you had to move it down through the fraction bar to make it positive. That to me is too complicated. Does that make sense? It's easier to think canceling, and it tells you where to put it. So it tells you to put your x on the bottom. Okay.